Michael opened his laptop in the barracks of the airbase in Guam, the ceiling fan turning lazily against the oppressive tropical heat. 42 years old, a master sergeant in the U.S. Air Force 4 months away from home. The email from Emily arrived at 7 in the morning with the subject line, "Let's handle this like adults." He read the 3 short sentences twice. She had already filed for divorce. She had already emptied their joint account. She had already moved her new boyfriend into their house in Austin, Texas. 13 years of marriage ending in a PDF attached to a cold, direct email. If you like revenge stories, subscribe to our channel and comment where you're watching from. It really helps our work. Michael closed the laptop slowly, showered in the communal bathroom, put on his uniform, and said nothing to anyone during his entire shift. When he returned to the barracks that night, he replied with a single word, "Understood." No arguments, no pleading, no threats. Davis, his roommate, noticed something was wrong while reading a motorcycle magazine on the next bunk. "You good, man?" he asked without looking up. "Just some stuff back home," Michael replied. Davis nodded and went back to his magazine. Servicemen know when not to push. The truth was, Michael wasn't surprised. 6 months before this deployment, things had changed. Small things at first. Emily stopped asking about his day. She started working later at the dental clinic, where she was a receptionist. She started going to the gym 3 times a week, but never seemed to break a sweat. New clothes, new friends he never met, new passwords on her phone. Michael didn't confront her. He didn't start checking her messages or following her around. That wasn't who he was, but he wasn't blind either. So he made some quiet moves. Nothing dramatic, just precautions. He moved important documents to a storage unit on the other side of town. Birth certificates, the deed to the house, which was solely in his name thanks to a military home loan, and his Air Force retirement documents. He transferred his grandfather's watch and his mother's jewelry to the same place. Things that mattered. He also opened a separate account at a different bank and started diverting part of his salary there. Not enough for her to notice, but enough that he wouldn't be starting from zero if things went south. The night before he deployed, she hugged him at the Austin Bergstrom Airport and said, "Take care, okay?" Her eyes were dry like she was saying goodbye to a co-worker, not a husband leaving for a months-long mission. Michael should have seen it then, but a part of him still hoped he was wrong. He wasn't. What she didn't know was that he had prepared for this moment. And what she didn't understand was that Michael never started fights, but he always finished them. He met Emily at a friend's barbecue in 2012. Michael was in Austin between deployments, staying at his friend Mark's house. She was finishing nursing school, but ended up working in administration at a dental clinic. Less stress, she'd said. They married 8 months later. Emily used to say she was proud of his service, though she never really understood it. Her father was a bank manager, her brother a pharmacist. No military in the family. She would ask when he was going to get a real job, not realizing that after 15 years, the Air Force was his career, not a temporary gig. They bought the house in 2014. Nothing extravagant, but it was theirs. 3 bedrooms, small backyard, a quiet neighborhood in a suburb of Austin. Michael's name was the only one on the deed since the financing was through the military housing program, but he added her name to the title because that's what married people did. They shared things. For the first few years, everything seemed to work. Michael was deployed 4 times during their marriage. The Middle East twice, a tour in Afghanistan, 1 in Korea. Each time he came home, Emily seemed a little more distant, a little more restless, as if she were playing a role she had grown tired of. "I didn't marry to be a military wife," she said once, after he mentioned renewing his contract for another 4 years. "I'm tired of being alone all the time." Michael understood that. He really did. But the Air Force was the only place he truly felt he belonged. He was good at what he did. People depended on him. In 2021, things started to change. Small things. Emily got irritated when he called during her girls' nights out. She started talking about how her friend Melissa had divorced her husband and was living her best life now. She started making comments about how they had nothing in common anymore. Michael suggested marriage counseling. She said everything was fine, just a phase. Then came the late nights at work, the weekends with friends he never met, the new clothes, the gym membership she rarely seemed to use. He should have confronted her, but that wasn't how he handled things. Never was. His father had taught him to think before speaking, to be sure before acting. So Michael watched and prepared in silence, because his instincts told him something was coming. And in this life, you learn to trust your instincts. 2 weeks after receiving the divorce email, Michael was sitting in the base mess hall when his phone vibrated. A notification from his bank app. Another withdrawal, $88,500, almost everything that was left. He put his fork down and opened the app. The joint account balance was $22.37. Their savings account, $47,000 built up over the years, was completely gone. Transferred to an account he didn't recognize. Johnson, one of the guys from his unit, glanced over. Bad news? Michael locked his phone. Nothing, just some account issues. That night he called the bank using a base phone. He found out Emily had been moving money for weeks. Small amounts at first, then larger ones. The big transfers began the day after he deployed. Michael hung up and stood in the hallway for a long time, watching his colleagues laughing, calling their kids, their wives, their parents. Normal life happening all around while his fell apart. That's when Davis found him. Heard from Alvarez you looked like you'd seen a ghost at dinner, he said. What's up? Michael didn't usually share personal things, but Davis had pulled him out of a tight spot during an operation once. He trusted him. My wife emptied our accounts and moved her boyfriend into our house, he said. Sent me divorce papers while I was on patrol last week. Davis didn't give the usual "I'm sorry" or "that's tough" or "you'll find someone better." He just asked, "What's your plan?" I don't know yet, Michael said. Davis nodded. Let me know if you need anything. Michael couldn't sleep that night. He got his laptop and logged into the home security system, something Emily probably forgot he could access remotely. The cameras showed a strange pickup truck in the driveway, a man he'd never seen walking the dog using his mug. Michael watched for nearly an hour, his jaw tight, breathing deeply. Then he shut the laptop and stared at the ceiling in the dark. The plan was beginning to form in his mind piece by piece. Michael shut the laptop and stared into the darkness of the barracks. Around him, the snores of the other soldiers created a symphony of sounds that usually helped him sleep, but tonight they seemed amplified, irritating. Davis turned in the bunk above, muttering something incomprehensible before resuming his soft snoring. Michael's mind was racing, processing information, connecting dots, building strategies. This was how he operated, always had. On the battlefield, he analyzed situations quickly, calculated risks, made decisions. This skill had kept him alive through 4 deployments and earned him 3 promotions and the respect of his superiors. Now he would use those same skills to deal with the war Emily had declared while he was absent. He thought about all the times he'd noticed small changes and chosen to ignore them. When she started working late, he assumed it was just more responsibility. When she stopped asking about his day, he thought it was just the natural fatigue of a long marriage. When she started going to the gym but never seemed to actually train, he didn't question it because he trusted her. Trusted. That word now felt like a cruel joke. How many times had she looked him in the eye and lied? How many nights had she slept beside him while planning all this? Michael felt his jaw clench involuntarily. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to relax. Anger wouldn't help him now. He needed to think clearly. He remembered the conversation they'd had 2 days before he left. They were in the kitchen. He was making sandwiches for the trip. She was sitting at the table scrolling through her phone. Michael had mentioned something about the future, about maybe looking for a bigger house when he got back, something with more space for when they had kids. Emily had looked up from her phone for a brief second and said, "Yeah, we'll see when you get back," before returning her attention to the screen. At the time, he read it as casual disinterest. Now he understood it was real disinterest. She already had other plans, plans that didn't include him. Michael wondered how long she had been planning this. Months, a year? Had she met Jeremy before his last deployment, or had he shown up after he left? There was no way to know without investigating, and that was exactly what he intended to do. He also thought about the money. $135,000 wasn't a fortune, but it was the result of years of careful savings, bonuses from dangerous missions, accumulated pay. It was supposed to be their future, Their emergency fund, the foundation for a stable life after he retired from the service. And she had taken almost all of it in a matter of weeks. What did she plan to do with that money? Start a new life with Jeremy? Pay off debts he didn't know about? Simply punish Michael for all the absences? All the missions, all the times he had chosen duty over her? Michael turned on his side in the narrow barracks cot, adjusting the thin pillow. Tomorrow he would have to wake up at 5 for morning PT, then battle equipment in the suffocating Guam heat, then eat mess hall food and repeat it all the next day. But even with the military routine, his mind would keep working on this problem, unraveling the mystery, planning the next moves. Because if there was one thing the Air Force had taught Michael over 15 years, it was that problems don't solve themselves. You needed a plan. You needed to execute with precision. And you needed to be ready to adapt when circumstances changed. And circumstances had definitely changed. The war had come to his doorstep while he was thousands of miles away defending the country. Now it was time to defend himself, to protect what was his, to ensure justice was done, not for revenge, but because it was the right thing to do. Michael closed his eyes, breathing deeply, letting exhaustion finally begin to weigh on him. Tomorrow would be another day of work, but somewhere in the back of his mind, the plans would continue to form, the strategies refining, until the right moment to act. 3 days later, Michael got 48 hours of emergency leave to handle urgent family matters. His commander didn't ask many questions. 14 years of impeccable service carried weight. The flight from Guam to Hawaii, then to Austin, took almost 18 hours. Michael slept on the first leg, stayed awake on the second, planning every move. At 9 p.m. on a Saturday, he landed at Austin Bergstrom. His friend Mark was waiting at baggage claim, stubble on his chin, a cowboy's cap on his head. "Hey man, long time," Mark said, shaking his hand. "Thanks for picking me up." "Of course. You're staying with us, right?" Sarah already made up the guest room. On the way to the suburbs, Michael explained the details. Mark listened without interrupting, hands steady on the wheel of his old Corolla. "Did you know?" Michael finally asked. Mark sighed. "I suspected something about 3 months ago. Saw her at the mall with some guy. Figured it was a co-worker, you know. But there was something weird about how they were together. I thought about telling you, but I wasn't sure, and you were already prepping to ship out." Michael nodded, looking out the window at the city lights. "It's okay. I kinda knew too." They got to Mark's house around 10. Sarah, his wife, had sandwiches and coffee ready. They talked late in the kitchen while the couple's 2 kids slept upstairs. "What's the plan?" Mark asked for the 3rd time that night. "Tomorrow I'm going to the house. I want to see the damage for myself." "Want me to come with?" "It'd be good to have a witness." In the morning, they took Mark's car to the neighborhood where Michael lived, or had lived. It was Sunday, 9 a.m. The street was quiet, a few neighbors washing cars, kids riding bikes. Michael's house looked different. The yard was neglected, the grass high. The black pickup truck he'd seen on the cameras was parked where his Civic used to be. "That's it," Michael said, pointing. Mark parked 3 houses down. They watched. After 10 minutes, the front door opened, and a man came out. Tall, about 35, gelled hair, tank top showing tattoos on his arms. He grabbed the newspaper from the sidewalk, glanced around, and went back inside. "Is that Jeremy?" Mark asked. "Must be." Michael took out his phone and called the nearest police precinct. He explained the situation to the dispatcher, said he was the owner and needed a police escort to enter his own home. Half an hour later, a squad car pulled up. 2 officers, Captain Miller and Officer Chen, got out and walked over to Mark's car. "Mr. Michael Sullivan?" Miller asked. "That's me. Thanks for coming. Explain the situation for us." Michael showed the deed to the house, his military ID, and copies of Emily's emails. Miller read everything carefully. "Okay, so the house is yours, but your wife is living here with another guy?" "That's right. She has no legal right to bar me from entry." "The house is in my name." "Right, let's go." They walked up to the door. Miller rang the bell. No answer. He rang again. After a minute, the door opened a crack. The man in the tank top appeared, annoyed. "What?" Miller showed his badge. "Police. This is the owner of the residence. He needs to come inside." The man looked at Michael for the first time. His eyes widened slightly. "Emily didn't say you were coming back." "I don't need to," Michael said. It's my house. Look, I don't want any trouble. Let me get Emily. You can get whoever you want, but you're going to let him in right now, Miller said firmly. The man stepped back and opened the door. Michael walked in slowly, Mark behind him, the officers last. The house smelled different. Stale beer and cigarettes. The living room was a mess. Empty cans on the coffee table, clothes thrown on the sofa. The TV Michael had bought was on, tuned to a football game. "Emily?" the man yelled. "Get down here!" Hurried footsteps on the stairs. Emily appeared in a bathrobe, hair wet, her face pale when she saw Michael standing in the entryway. "Michael, what are you doing here?" "Came to see my house," he said calmly. "And to get some of my things. You can't just walk in here. I live here. You live in my house, Emily, without authorization, without a lease, without any right, but we're married." "I have rights," Miller stepped in. "Ma'am, the property is registered solely in Mr. Michael Sullivan's name. He has every right to be here and to ask you to vacate." Emily looked at Jeremy, then back at Michael. "This is ridiculous. You can't just kick me out of my own house." "It's not your house," Michael said. "It never was. It's on the deed. Want to see?" He took the document from his pocket and held it out. Emily didn't take it. "You both need to leave," Michael said. "Today." "Today?" Jeremy exploded. "Man, we've got nowhere to go just like that." "Should have thought of that before," Michael said, his tone unchanged. "You have until 5 p.m. to get your things and get out. Leave the keys on the table." "And if we don't leave?" Jeremy asked, taking a step forward. Mark moved too, standing next to Michael. Officer Chen put his hand on his holster. Jeremy stopped. "Then I involve the courts, and this gets much worse for both of you," Michael said. "Especially for you, since you're trespassing on private property. I can press criminal charges." Miller nodded. "He's right. You have no legal standing to be here without the owner's permission." Emily started to cry. "Michael, please, we can talk about this." "It doesn't have to be this way. We already talked, Emily, by email. Remember? You sent me divorce papers while I was deployed. You emptied our account. Did you think I'd just stay quiet?" "I can explain." 5 p.m., he repeated. "I have nothing to discuss." Michael walked past them and went upstairs. The master bedroom was transformed. Men's clothes in his closet, shaving products in the bathroom, the smell of another man on everything. He opened the hidden safe in the closet, checked that the most important documents were still there. He grabbed a few personal things, family photos, service medals. Mark came upstairs. "Need help? Can you grab those boxes from the attic? I'm taking some things now." They spent the next hour packing. Clothes, books, camping gear, tools. Emily and Jeremy stayed in the living room, silent. When Michael came down with the last box, Emily was sitting on the sofa, drying her eyes. "Michael," she started, "I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't want things to end this way." He paused at the door. "You had 13 years to decide what kind of person you wanted to be. You chose this. Now you have to live with the choices. You were always so cold, so distant. I was always honest," he said. "I never cheated. I never lied. I never hid anything. You can't say the same." Emily didn't answer. Michael left, put the boxes in Mark's car and went back one last time. Emily and Jeremy were still in the living room. 5 p.m., he reminded them. "After that, I'm changing the locks, and anything left behind goes in the trash." Michael and Mark went back to his place and unloaded the boxes into the guest room. Sarah made lunch while they recounted what happened. At 4:30, Michael got a text from Emily. "We're gone, keys are on the table like you asked, hope you're happy." He didn't reply. At 5:15, he went back to the house with Mark, and a locksmith Mark knew. They changed every lock front and back. The house was empty, quieter than Michael remembered. The keys were on the kitchen table next to a handwritten note. "Michael, I know you hate me now, but I want you to know I really did love you once. Things just changed and I didn't know how to handle it. I'm sorry for everything." He crumpled the note and threw it in the trash. Over the next few days, Michael cleaned the house from top to bottom. He threw out everything they had left, some clothes, toiletries, a lighter forgotten on the sofa. He washed all the sheets, towels, curtains. He bought new cleaning supplies and spent 2 days scrubbing every room until the smell of cigarettes and beer was completely gone. Mark came over to help after work. One afternoon, while they were painting the master bedroom white to cover the scuff marks, Mark asked, "What about the money she took?" "Are you going after it?" "I am. Just waiting for the right time." "Got a lawyer?" "I have a contact at the Air Force Legal Office. I'm talking to him next week." On Wednesday, Michael went to downtown Austin to meet Lieutenant Colonel Vance, a military lawyer specializing in family law. The office was in an old building downtown. Vance was in his 50s, gray hair, thick-rimmed glasses. "Master Sergeant Sullivan, come in." "Sit down." Vance pointed to the chair across his cluttered desk. Michael told him everything from the beginning. The divorce email, the missing money, Jeremy living in the house, the accounts emptied during his deployment. Vance took notes on a yellow legal pad. "She withdrew $88,000 from a joint account while you were deployed?" Vance asked. "Yes, and before that she emptied the savings. $47,000. "Do you have proof of the transactions?" "I have everything. Statements, dates, times." "Excellent. And about the house, you said it's in your name only." "Only mine. Military housing loan. But I added her name to the title in 2015, after we'd paid off half the mortgage." Vance stopped writing. "You added her to the title?" "I did. I thought it was the right thing to do." Vance sighed. "Michael, that complicates things. If her name is on the title, she has ownership rights even if she didn't contribute to the financing. But I paid for everything, with my salary." "She never contributed a dime." "I understand, but legally with her name on the title, she's a co-owner. It's going to be much harder to remove her completely." Michael felt his stomach tighten. "So she could get half the house?" "Not necessarily. We can argue that you paid for everything, that she was unjustly enriched, that she acted in bad faith, but it's going to be a legal battle. It could take months, maybe years." "And the money?" "As the money is clearer. She withdrew funds from a joint account without authorization during a period when you were unable to defend yourself because you were on military deployment." "That's serious. We can file for restitution, possibly even press charges for misappropriation of funds." Michael took a deep breath. "How long does this take?" "Depends. 3 months, 6 months. If she contests it, it could take longer." They talked for another hour about strategies, timelines, costs. When Michael left the office, the sun was setting over the river. He walked through the downtown streets aimlessly, thinking about everything Vance had said. That night, alone in the house that now felt too big and too empty, Michael opened a beer and sat on the sofa. He pulled out his phone and opened his old photos. Pictures of him and Emily at their wedding, smiling on a beach trip, at Christmas with her family. When everything had seemed simple and promising, he deleted every photo. On Friday, 2 days before he was due back in Guam, Michael got a call from an unknown number. "Hello? Michael?" "It's Matt, Emily's brother." Michael was silent for a second. "Hey, Matt. Look, I know you guys are having problems. Emily told me what happened. I just wanted to say, man, I think you're both overreacting. It doesn't have to be this way. You were happy once. You can still work this out. Matt, with all due respect, this isn't your business. She's my sister." "Of course it's my business. Your sister stole over $130,000 from me while I was serving the country. She moved another man into my house. She sent me divorce papers while I was deployed. And you think I'm overreacting?" "Michael, she's sorry. She's going through a hard time. You were always so controlling, so absent." She felt alone. "So this is my fault?" "I'm not saying that. That's exactly what you're saying. Listen, Matt, I've always respected you and your family. But this is over. I have nothing to talk about with you or with her. The lawyers will handle it." "Michael, wait," he hung up. The phone rang 3 more times. Michael turned it off. On Saturday morning, Michael was packing his last few things when Mark showed up with a worried expression. "Man, you need to see this." Mark showed him his phone. It was a Facebook post from Emily, an old photo of the two of them from a trip to the mountains with a long caption underneath. "Sometimes the people we love disappoint us in the worst ways. After 13 years of dedicating my life to someone, I was abandoned when I needed support the most. He came back from his trip and kicked me out of our home without a second thought. Now I'm starting over from scratch with nothing, because I chose to believe in love. But God knows the truth. And the truth always wins." Michael read it twice. Over 200 people had liked it. The comments were full of supportive messages for Emily. "My friend, you didn't deserve this. Men are all the same. You're strong, you'll get through this." Sending strength. Nobody knew the other side of the story. "Are you going to respond?" Mark asked. "No, let her tell her version. The truth will come out in court." "But people are believing her. She's painting you as the villain." "I don't care what people think. I care about what's true." Mark nodded slowly. "You're right, but keep an eye on it. This story could get ugly." Michael flew back to Guam on Sunday night. As the plane took off from Austin, he looked out the window at the city lights shrinking below. 13 years summarized in a few boxes of personal items and a lawsuit that was just beginning. Davis found him in the barracks on Monday morning. "Hey, did you get it sorted out?" "More or less. Still a long way to go." 3 weeks later, Michael was in the middle of a jungle survival training exercise when he got an urgent call from Lieutenant Colonel Vance. Something in the lawyer's voice made him excuse himself from the group. "Michael, we have a serious problem. Your wife tried to refinance the house." "Refinance? What do you mean?" "She went to a bank with forged documents, including a power of attorney with your forged signature, trying to take out a $200,000 loan using the property as collateral." Michael's blood ran cold. "When was this?" Yesterday. We only found out because the bank manager thought some details were strange and called my office to confirm. Asked if you were really aware of the transaction. When I informed him you weren't, he blocked everything immediately and contacted their legal department." "She forged my signature?" "Yes, and apparently this Jeremy character was with her. He introduced himself as a real estate broker facilitating the deal." Michael closed his eyes, breathing deeply. "That's fraud." "It is. Document fraud, forgery, attempted grand larceny. It's a serious crime, Michael. I'm preparing a criminal complaint. But there's more." "What else?" "The bank sent us the documents she tried to use. There are inconsistencies in the signature, the date, the notary stamp. It looks like this isn't the first time they've done this." "They who?" "This Jeremy and possibly others. The bank manager mentioned he'd heard of similar cases. Military families being targeted in fraudulent refinancing schemes while the husbands are deployed." Michael opened his eyes. "I need to get back to Austin." "I think you do. I'm contacting the FBI. This could be bigger than we thought." 2 days later, Michael got another emergency leave. This time, the commander asked questions. Michael explained the situation. The commander, a colonel with 40 years of service, became visibly angry. "This kind of thing has been happening too often, Sergeant. Grifters targeting military families. You have my full support. Go and handle this." Michael arrived in Austin on a Thursday. Vance had scheduled a meeting with 2 FBI agents for Friday morning. They met in a discreet room in the downtown Federal Building. The agents were Agent Beatrice Brooks and Agent Paul Costa, both from the Financial Crimes Division. Brooks was a woman in her 40s, short hair, serious posture. Costa was younger, maybe 35, with an alert expression. "Sergeant Sullivan, thank you for coming," Brooks began. "We are investigating a fraud ring that specifically targets families of deployed military personnel. Your case might be a key piece of this puzzle." "How many cases do you have?" Michael asked. "Officially, 7 confirmed cases in Texas in the last 2 years. Unofficially, we suspect many more. The scheme is always similar. A third party approaches the wife, starts a relationship, then convinces her to refinance the house or transfer assets while the husband is deployed. Forged documents, forged signatures, fraudulent powers of attorney, and they succeed. In 3 cases, yes. The other 4 were blocked in time, like yours. But the victims lost a lot of money even in the blocked cases. Emptied accounts, sold assets." Costa opened a file and put photos on the table. Michael recognized Jeremy and several of them, always with different people. Women, men, elderly people. "Do you recognize this individual?" Costa asked. "That's Jeremy. The guy who was living in my house. Jeremy Pacheco. Extensive rap sheet. Fraud, embezzlement, racketeering. Already served 4 years. Got out on parole last year." Michael looked at the photos. "And Emily? Did she know about all this?" Brooks and Costa exchanged a look. "That's what we're trying to find out. She could be an accomplice or she could be a victim too. Some of these relationships start as manipulation. The criminal gains their trust, then presents the scheme as a solution to financial problems. The person only realizes they've been used when it's too late. But she emptied our accounts. Yes, and that's evidence. But we want to know if it was her idea or if Jeremy manipulated her. Either way, she will have to answer for it. But our priority is dismantling the whole network. You think more people are involved? Absolutely. Jeremy doesn't. Act alone. There are at least 2 other facilitators we've identified. A fake real estate broker named Daniel Spencer and a document forger named Fabiana Watkins. Michael spent the next 2 hours answering detailed questions. When was the last time he saw financial irregularities? When Emily started acting different. Details about Jeremy when he appeared, how he acted in the house. Everything Michael remembered. At the end, Brooks said, "We're going to need your full cooperation. This might include using your house for surveillance, recording conversations if she or Jeremy contact you, and testifying when we go to trial." "You can count on me," Michael said. When he left the federal building, Michael sat on a bench in a nearby plaza and watched the people. Mothers with strollers, rushing executives, street vendors. Normal life while he was discovering his wife had either been used by or was part of a criminal network. He still didn't know which. His phone rang. It was Mark. "Hey, how'd it go?" "Complicated. A lot more complicated than I thought." "Want to talk in person?" "Yeah, I'm heading to your place." That night in Mark's kitchen, Michael told him everything. Mark listened in silence, drinking a beer. Sarah was putting the kids to bed upstairs. "So she could be a victim too?" Mark asked at the end. "She could be. Or she could be faking." "I don't know anymore, man." "I don't know what's true. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to move forward with the FBI, see where this goes. I need to get the money back, protect the house, and if there's a chance to take down this network and stop other families from going through the same thing, I'm going to do it." Mark nodded. "You're doing the right thing." "It doesn't feel like it. It feels like I'm sinking deeper." "That's because you're in the middle of the storm. But you'll come out the other side. You always do." Michael wanted to believe that. But sitting there in his friend's kitchen, his own home turned into a crime scene, his marriage destroyed, over $130,000 missing, and a criminal ring targeting families just like his, it was hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. On Monday, Michael met with Brooks and Costa again. This time they had more information. "We got a search warrant," Costa said. "We're executing it tomorrow morning at the house where Jeremy is currently living." "We want you there." "Me? Why?" "Because technically it's still your house too, since Emily's name is on the title. Your presence prevents legal problems. And besides, you can identify items that were removed from your original residence." Michael agreed. On Tuesday at 6 a.m., he was in an unmarked car with Costa and 2 other agents, parked 3 blocks from a house in a working-class neighborhood on the east side. At 6:30 sharp, 4 FBI vehicles surrounded the residence. Michael stayed in the car while the agents went in. 15 minutes later, Jeremy was brought out in handcuffs and put into one of the vehicles. Brooks called Michael inside after the house was secured. The interior was chaotic. Computers, printers, stacks of documents scattered everywhere. On a table in the corner, Michael saw his own marriage certificate next to documents for other people he didn't know. "Recognize anything here?" Costa asked. Michael pointed to a laptop on the sofa. "That's mine. It was stolen from the house about 2 months ago. I filed a police report." Costa put an evidence tag on the laptop. "Anything else?" Michael walked through the room. On a bookshelf, he found the wristwatch his father had given him when he turned 18. In an open drawer, he saw old photos of his family, including some he thought he'd lost. "All of this is mine," he said, pointing. "It was taken from my house without permission." "We'll document everything," Brooks said. "But now I need you to see something else." She took him to a back room. The walls were covered with a whiteboard full of names, photos, and connections, drawn in red marker. Michael recognized some of the faces. Military personnel. Families he knew from the base. "My God," he murmured. 6 confirmed families so far, Brooks explained, all with the same pattern. Husband deployed, vulnerable wife, Jeremy, or one of his associates gets close, starts a relationship, proposes a refinancing or home sale scheme. Forged documents, forged signatures, diverted money. How much did they steal? From what we've been able to track so far, approximately $1,200,000 in the last 2 years. But it could be more. Many victims haven't even realized it yet or haven't reported it out of shame. Michael felt nauseous. $1,200,000. This is why the FBI is involved. This is organized crime operating in multiple states. It's not just your case, Michael. It's a major operation. At that moment, agents brought Emily in. She was pale, eyes red, hands shaking. When she saw Michael, she stopped walking. "Michael," she began, her voice cracking. "Ms. Emily Sullivan," Brooks interrupted. "You are being detained for questioning regarding document fraud, attempted grand larceny, and possible participation in a criminal organization. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney." Emily burst into tears. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Jeremy said it was all legal. He said you had hidden money, that you had another woman, that you were going to leave me with nothing." Brooks signaled, and 2 agents led Emily to another room. Michael stood there, processing everything. "Do you think she's telling the truth?" he asked after a long silence. Brooks sighed. "Honestly, I don't know. She might have been manipulated. Jeremy is good at what he does. He identifies vulnerabilities, exploits fears, builds convincing narratives. But she also signed fraudulent documents, emptied accounts, allowed him to live in your house. Whether it was manipulation or complicity, she's going to have to answer for it." Over the next few days, Michael followed the investigation's developments. The FBI had found enough evidence to indict Jeremy and 3 other people. Daniel Spencer, the fake real estate broker, Fabiana Watkins, a document forger, and Roger Stevens, a corrupt bank manager who facilitated the fraudulent transactions. Emily was held in provisional detention while the FBI investigated her level of involvement. Her lawyer argued she had been a victim of psychological manipulation. The district attorney argued she had acted consciously in at least some of the fraud. Michael testified twice. He answered questions about their relationship, their finances, when he started to suspect irregularities. It was hard to talk about the good years, about when they had been happy, about how it had all slowly fallen apart. A week after the FBI raid, Michael was at Mark's house when he got a call from Brooks. "Michael, we have an update. Jeremy decided to take a plea deal. He's giving up the entire network in exchange for a reduced sentence. Is that good?" "So, Sadi, depends on your perspective. For the investigation, yes. We're going to be able to dismantle the whole operation. For your wife, it could be bad. Jeremy is saying she knew everything from the beginning, that she was an active partner in the scheme." Michael sat on the edge of the bed. Is he telling the truth? The documentary evidence corroborates some of what he said. Bank transfers she made, emails exchanged with other members of the group, records of meetings. It looks like she knew more than she initially admitted. Michael didn't know how to feel. Angry? Sad? Relieved to finally know the truth? All of it at once. What happens now? Now the DA decides whether to offer her a deal or go to trial. If she goes to trial and is convicted, she could face 4 to 8 years. If she takes a deal, maybe 2 or 3 on probation, provided she returns everything she stole and testifies against the others. And my money. Close to Eve, part of it has been recovered. We found almost $60,000 in accounts Jeremy controlled. The rest was spent or transferred to offshore accounts we're still tracking. You'll get something back, but probably not all of it." Michael thanked her and hung up. Mark appeared at the bedroom door with 2 beers. "Bad news?" "Confirmation of things I already suspected." They drank in silence. Sarah had taken the kids to her mother's house, giving Michael space to process everything. "You have to go back to base tomorrow?" Mark asked. "Yeah, I've extended my leave as much as I can. The commander has been understanding, but there are limits. And the house? I'm leaving everything in the hands of Vance and the FBI. There's nothing more I can do here personally." That night, Michael went to his house one last time before returning to Guam. The street was quiet, dim light from the street lamps. He went inside and walked through the empty rooms. The kitchen where Emily used to bake bread on Sundays. The living room where they watched movies on Friday nights. The bedroom where they had slept together for years. All of it had been real once. Or had it been an illusion from the start? Michael didn't know anymore. He locked the house and left without looking back. In the following weeks, back in the routine in Guam, Michael kept informed about the case through calls with Vance and emails from Brooks. The investigation had expanded. They discovered more victims, more fraud, connections to other criminal rings in neighboring states. Jeremy confirmed everything in detailed depositions. He described how they identified targets, always families of deployed military personnel. How they studied the wives' social media, identifying signs of dissatisfaction, loneliness, financial problems. How they got close, building seemingly genuine relationships before introducing the scheme. Emily eventually admitted her participation. At first, she said, she really believed Jeremy's lies about Michael hiding money and planning to abandon her. But after a few weeks, she realized it was a scam. And she continued anyway. Out of greed, out of anger, out of a desire to punish Michael for all the times he had chosen his military career over her. Michael read her deposition in a PDF that Vance sent. Sitting in the barracks at night, the dim light of a lamp, he processed every word. The woman described in those pages was a stranger. Or maybe she had always been that way, and he had simply never wanted to see it. Davis came into the barracks and saw Michael with the laptop. Still that situation with your ex? Still, but it's coming to an end. That's good, right? Michael didn't answer right away. He closed the laptop and stared at the wall for a long moment. It should be, right? He finally said. But it doesn't feel like it. 6 months after the FBI operation, Michael was back in Austin for the sentencing. Emily had accepted a plea bargain with the DA. 2 years probation, restitution of all the money that could still be recovered, loss of any right to the house or the couple's assets, and full testimony against the others involved. Michael was in the courtroom audience when the judge read the sentence. Emily was thin, her hair shorter, dark circles under her eyes. She didn't look at him once during the entire hearing. Afterward, outside the courthouse, Vance explained the next steps. The divorce would be finalized in 30 days. The house would be completely in Michael's name. Part of the money would be returned as Jeremy's and the others' assets were liquidated. How much do you think I'll get back? Michael asked. In total. Maybe 80, 90,000. The rest was spent, or is in accounts we'll have trouble accessing. I'm sorry, Michael. I know it's not ideal. It's more than I expected a few months ago, Michael said. At least it's something. That night, Mark had a barbecue to celebrate the end of the process. A few old high school friends came over. Sarah made dessert. The kids played in the yard. It was a normal night, the kind of night Michael had forgotten. Are you going to move back into the house? Mark asked, turning sausages on the grill. I don't know. A lot of bad history there. You could rent it out. Use the money to supplement your pension when you retire. Maybe. Or maybe I'll sell it and buy something smaller, simpler. No need to decide now. True. A week later, Michael was organizing papers in the makeshift office at the house when he found an old box in the back of the closet. Inside were letters Emily had written to him during his first deployment to the Middle East in 2013. He read a few. The words were sweet, full of longing, promises of eternal love. When had that changed? At what point had the woman who wrote those letters turned into the woman who conspired to steal from him? Michael put the letters back in the box and threw it in the trash. There was no point in digging through the past. In the following months, life began to return to a kind of normalcy. Michael completed one more deployment in Guam, then was transferred to a base in San Antonio, just a few hours from Austin. It was easier to manage the house, deal with the final legal proceedings, rebuild some semblance of a routine. He started therapy on the recommendation of the base doctor, a psychologist named Dr. Evans, who worked with military personnel with traumatic experiences. At first, Michael resisted. He wasn't the type to talk about feelings, but after a few sessions, he started to realize it helped. Do you feel angry at her? Dr. Evans asked in one session. Yes, no, I don't know. Michael took a deep breath. Sometimes I do. Other times I just feel empty. Like 13 years of my life were erased. The years weren't erased, Michael. They happened. They were real. The ending doesn't erase what came before, but it feels like it was all a lie. Some parts were. Others weren't. People change. Relationships change. That doesn't mean what you felt at the time wasn't true. Michael thought about that later. Maybe she was right. Maybe not all of it had been false. But it was hard to distinguish what was real from what was an illusion. A year after the judgment, Michael received a letter. It was from Emily. He hesitated before opening it, but in the end, curiosity won. The letter was long. She apologized, not expecting forgiveness, just wanting him to know she regretted everything. She explained how Jeremy had manipulated her insecurities, how she had let herself be convinced that Michael no longer loved her, that he was planning to leave her. She admitted that even after realizing it was a lie, she continued out of pride and anger. She finished by saying she was trying to rebuild her life, working at a clinic in a small town, and that she hoped one day she could look at herself in the mirror without feeling ashamed. Michael read it twice. Then he put the letter in a drawer and didn't reply. There was nothing to say that would change anything, but something in the letter made him think. Did he also have a part in the end of the marriage? Had he been too absent? Put his career above everything? He brought these questions to therapy. You can acknowledge your faults in a relationship without taking responsibility for her choices, Dr. Evans said. You might have been an imperfect husband. Most people are imperfect partners, but you didn't force her to steal from you. You didn't force her to get involved with criminals. Those were her choices. Michael knew she was right, but it was still hard to separate things. 2 years after the divorce, Michael turned 45. Mark organized a surprise party. Sarah made a cake. Some colleagues from the base showed up. It was a good night, full of laughter and old stories. At the end, after everyone had left, Mark and Michael stayed in the backyard drinking beer under the stars. You seem better, Mark said. I feel better. Most of the time. Met anyone? No, not ready yet. Maybe never will be. You will be. Just need time. Michael wanted to believe that. But the truth was, the idea of trusting someone again, of opening up, of sharing his life seemed impossible. The wounds had healed, but the scars remained. That same year, Michael received a notification that he had recovered more money. Jeremy's assets had been auctioned off, and part of the value was distributed among the victims. In total, Michael recovered $105,000 of the $135,000 he had lost. It wasn't everything, but it was significant. He used part of the money to renovate the house. He painted all the walls, replaced the floors, updated the kitchen and bathroom. He transformed the place into something new, removing the last traces of the past. When he finished, the house felt different, smaller, cozier, genuinely his. He also bought new camping gear and started spending weekends hiking and camping in the hill country. It was good to be alone in nature, away from everything, just him and the silence of the hills. In those moments, he could think clearly, process everything that had happened, slowly make peace with the past. One afternoon during a hike near the canyons, Michael stopped at an overlook. The cool wind hit his face, the sun starting to set on the horizon. He thought about everything he had lost and everything he had kept. The house, the money, at least part of it, his dignity, his honor, the ability to move forward. He thought about Emily too, wondering where she was, how she was. Not with anger or resentment, but with a kind of distant curiosity, as if she were a character from a story he had read a long time ago. He realized he had stopped feeling that sharp pain in his chest every time he thought of her. He had stopped mentally replaying the last few years, looking for signs he had missed. He had stopped blaming himself for not seeing what was happening. He was almost okay. Not completely, but almost. And maybe that was enough. 3 years after the divorce, Michael was seriously considering retirement. He had completed 20 years of service, enough for full military retirement. The base commander had offered him a promotion if he stayed another 4 years, but Michael was tired. Tired of the deployments, the transfers, the life governed by rank and protocol. He talked to Dr. Evans about it. After 3 years of therapy, she had become more than a psychologist. She was almost a friend, someone who knew the whole story, or the dark corners he rarely showed. What would you do if you retired? She asked. I don't know. Maybe buy a piece of land. A quiet place far from everything. Build a small house, get a couple of dogs, do manual labor. Woodworking maybe. Sounds nice, but it also sounds lonely. I've kind of gotten used to being alone. Getting used to it isn't the same as preferring it. Michael knew she was right, but he wasn't ready for more than that. It was during this period of indecision that Michael received an unexpected call. It was Beatrice Brooks, the FBI agent who had investigated the case. Michael, sorry to bother you. I know you probably want to put all this in the past, but I have some news I thought you'd want to hear. Go ahead. Remember we talked about other victims of the ring? Families that were targeted but didn't report it. I remember. One of them contacted us. A woman from Killeen, her husband is an army sergeant. The scheme was similar to yours, but they managed to refinance the house before anyone noticed. The family lost everything. They were literally on the street. Michael felt his stomach clench. And why is she contacting you now? Because she saw a news story about our case, realized the pattern was the same. She wants to report it, but she's afraid of repercussions. I thought maybe you could talk to her, give her a testimonial that it's worth fighting back. Michael was silent for a moment. I don't know if I'm the right person for that. You are exactly the right person. You went through the same thing, you fought. You got back part of what you lost, you helped put these criminals in jail. Your story could give her strength. After hanging up, Michael thought about it. He had spent the last few years trying to forget, to move on, to leave it all behind. But maybe there was one last thing he needed to do. He called Brooks back. Okay, I'll talk to her. 2 days later, Michael was in an FBI meeting room in Austin. The woman's name was Marina. She was in her early 30s, tired eyes, hands that wouldn't stop fidgeting. Her husband, Sergeant Robert Davis, was deployed to the border when it all happened. She told her story through tears. The man who had approached her, the lies he told, how he convinced her the husband was hiding money to leave the family, the refinancing that seemed legitimate, the discovery that it was fraud when it was too late. We lost the house, she said. Everything we had built in 10 years of marriage. We had to live with my parents for a year. My marriage almost ended. Robert still doesn't fully trust me. And I don't blame him. Michael listened without interrupting. When she finished, he took a deep breath before speaking. I understand what you went through. I went through the same thing. The feeling of betrayal, the shame, the fear that no one will believe you. Did you get over it? I wouldn't say get over it, but I learned to live with it. And I fought. I reported it, I testified. I helped the FBI dismantle the network. I got part of my money back. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. What if they try to hurt me? Jeremy and the others still have contacts outside prison. The FBI will protect you. And besides, the more victims who report, the weaker the network gets. Your silence only protects them, not you. Marina nodded slowly, drying her eyes. You're right. I'm going to report it. In the following months, 3 more families came forward with similar stories. They had all seen reports about the original case, all recognized the same patterns. Michael spoke with each of them, sharing his experience, encouraging them to report. The investigation was reopened. They discovered more names, more connections, evidence that the network was even larger than they initially thought. Jeremy, already in prison, was indicted on 23 more counts of fraud. The other members also had their sentences increased. One afternoon, Brooks called Michael with an unexpected proposal. The Air Force contacted us. They want to do a prevention program for military families. Educational seminars on how to identify these schemes, warning signs, what to do if you suspect something. They want you to be one of the speakers. Me? I'm not good at public speaking. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest. Tell your story. Show that it's possible to recover. Michael accepted. The first seminar was difficult. 40 people in the audience, all military personnel or their families. He was shaking at first, but as he spoke, the words came more easily. He told them everything, from the email in Guam to the trial. He didn't hide anything, not even the parts that made him look naive or vulnerable. When he finished, several people came up to talk to him, some sharing similar stories, others thanking him for having the courage to speak. A young woman, a pilot's wife, said she had started to suspect something strange with a new friend she'd made online, and after the seminar, she was going to investigate more carefully. That night, driving back home, Michael felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Purpose, as if all the suffering had finally been for something other than just pain. Over the next year, Michael gave 16 seminars at military bases across the country. He met dozens of families, heard countless stories, helped prevent several schemes that were just starting to form. The Air Force recognized his work with a commendation for service to the military community. It was at one of these seminars at a base in Florida that Michael met Adriana. She was a base social worker, working with military families. She was in her 40s, short brown hair, a kind smile. After the seminar, she approached him. "Your story is very powerful. Thank you for sharing it." "You're welcome. I hope it helps some people." "It definitely will. I've worked with these families for 10 years. I see these patterns all the time, but I can't always identify them before it's too late. Your talk will help me be more alert." They talked for over an hour. About her work, his experiences, the challenges of protecting vulnerable families. At the end, she gave him her card. "If you're ever back in Florida, let me know. I'd love to show you the city." Michael put the card in his pocket. 3 months later, when he had to return to Florida for another seminar, he called her. They had dinner at a restaurant on the beach, talking late about everything and nothing. It was easy to talk to her, easy to be around her. It wasn't an immediate romance. It was something slower, more careful. Text messages that became weekly calls, occasional visits when their schedules allowed. A gradual recognition that maybe, after everything, he could trust someone again. A year after meeting Adriana, Michael finally retired from the Air Force. 21 years of service, 2 commendations, countless missions. It was time for a new chapter. He decided not to sell the house in Austin. Instead, he completely renovated it, turning it into something entirely new. No longer the place he had lived with Emily, but his house, genuinely his. He painted the walls different colors, replaced all the furniture, planted a garden in the backyard. Every change was a form of reconstruction, of turning pain into something productive. Adriana visited when she could. They were still figuring out what their relationship was. No rush, no pressure. She understood why he needed to go slow, why trust was something he had to build brick by brick. "Have you ever spoken to her?" Adriana asked one night as they had dinner on the porch. They were talking about the past, something Michael did less and less. "To who, Emily?" "Yeah, since that letter 2 years ago." "No, there's nothing to say." "Aren't you curious how she's doing?" Michael thought for a moment. "Sometimes, but I think it's better not to know. She made her choices, I made mine. We went down different paths. Do you forgive her?" "I don't know if forgive is the right word. I think I've accepted it. I accepted it happened. I accepted my part in it. I accepted that she was also human and flawed. But forgiveness? I don't know if I'm there yet." "Maybe I never will be." Adriana nodded. "That's already a lot. Acceptance is sometimes more important than forgiveness." That same month, Michael got a call from a documentary producer. They wanted to make a film about fraud against military families, using his case as the central thread. At first, he hesitated. Exposing everything again, reliving it publicly, seemed like too much. But then he thought about how many families could be helped, how many people could avoid the same suffering. He agreed to participate. Filming took 3 months. Interviews, reenactments, conversations with other victims. It was difficult at times, especially when he had to go back over the whole story, the details he preferred to forget. But it was also cathartic, a way to definitively close that chapter. The documentary premiered at a film festival in Austin. Michael went with Adriana, Mark, and Sarah. Watching his own story on the big screen with thousands of people was surreal. But the comments afterward were positive. People thanking him for sharing, saying they had learned something important, that they would pay more attention to the signs. A woman approached Michael in the theater lobby after the screening. She was in her 50s, her eyes red. "My son is an army sergeant. He's deployed right now. His wife started acting strange these last few weeks. I didn't know what to do, thought it was just in my head. But after seeing your documentary, I recognized the signs. I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. Thank you. You might have just saved my family." Michael felt a lump in his throat. This is what made it worth it. Everything, every hard moment, every tear, every sleepless night. 6 months later, on a sunny Saturday morning, Michael was in the backyard building a wooden table when he heard the doorbell. Adriana had a key but sometimes rang it as a joke. He went to the door smiling, expecting to see her. But it wasn't Adriana. It was Emily. She looked different. Thinner, long hair, simple clothes. She looked tired, but also more mature somehow. They just looked at each other for a long moment. "Hi, Michael," she finally said in a low voice. "Hi, Emily. Sorry to show up unannounced. I know you probably don't want to see me, but I had to. There are some things I need to say in person. Michael didn't know what to feel. Surprise, certainly. But not anger, not anymore. Okay, come in. They sat in the living room. The room she had helped decorate years ago, but was now completely different. Emily looked around, noticing all the changes. You renovated everything? Yeah, I needed a fresh start. She nodded. Makes sense. She took a deep breath before continuing. I watched the documentary. I saw your interview. I heard what you said about me, about us. It was hard. But you were right. About everything. Emily, if you came here looking for absolution, no, I didn't. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what I did was unforgivable. I just came because I need you to know that I'm trying to be a better person. I've been in therapy for 2 years, working, paying my debts, trying to fix what I can fix. I know it doesn't change anything I did, but I need you to know that I'm trying. Michael was silent. He could see she was being sincere. He could see the change in her, real and profound. I wish you the best, Emily, I really do. I hope you find peace. I hope you manage to build a good life. But we can't be part of each other's lives. You understand that, right? She nodded, wiping away a tear. I understand. I just needed you to know. And I wanted to thank you. Thank me? First, for not completely destroying me when you could have. For being fair even when I didn't deserve it. For giving me a chance to start over. They talked for a few more minutes superficially about how she was, her new job at a veterinary clinic in a small town, her plans to go back to school. When she stood up to leave, she held out her hand. Thank you for seeing me, Michael. And I'm sorry for everything. Michael shook her hand. Take care of yourself, Emily. After she left, Michael stood at the door for a long time. Something had shifted in that meeting. A final piece had clicked into place. It wasn't forgiveness exactly, but it was closure. Definitive, real, complete. When Adriana arrived an hour later, he told her about the visit. She listened without interrupting, holding his hand. How do you feel? She asked at the end. Free, he said after a moment. For the first time in years, I feel completely free. That night, sitting on the porch under the stars, Adriana leaning on his shoulder, Michael thought about everything he had been through. The losses, the betrayals, the trials, the rebuilding. It had been painful, yes. It had been hard in a way he never imagined it could be, but he had survived. He had fought. He had helped other people survive too. And now finally he was building something new. Not on the ruins of the past, but alongside them, acknowledging they existed, but not allowing them to define his future. Have you thought about what you want to do now? Adriana asked, with all this free time. I thought about continuing the seminars, maybe write a book about the experience, help military families in other ways, and spend more time with you, of course. She smiled. I like that plan. Michael smiled back. For the first time in a long time, the future looked promising. Not perfect, because nothing in life is perfect, but real, honest, and genuinely his. 5 years after that email from Guam that had changed everything, Michael finally had peace. Not the peace of forgetting, but the peace of remembering without pain. The peace of having fought and won, not against other people, but against his own despair and bitterness. The peace of having turned tragedy into purpose. And that, in the end, was all that mattered. End of story, dear listeners. We hope Michael's story and his journey of reconstruction have touched your hearts. This narrative shows us that even in the most difficult situations, when we feel betrayed and lost, it's possible to find the strength to start over and turn pain into purpose. If you enjoyed this moving story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like on the video. Every day we bring unique stories that explore the complexity of life, the challenges of human relationships, and the incredible capacity for resilience that exists within each of us. Tell us in the comments, have you ever been through a situation where you had to start over? How did you overcome it? We want to hear your story. To continue this emotional journey, we've prepared a special playlist with equally captivating stories. Find it right here by clicking on your left. Don't miss our next videos. We're waiting for you in the comments.